Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the third episode of the Cheat Code podcast. My name is Nishi, and I'm the co-founder of Cheat Code, and I will be your host. Today on the podcast, we have Rashim Mogha, who is the co-founder of eWow. In this podcast, you will learn about how programming languages that you learn can help you later in college and in your career. We will also be delving into the steps that Rashim Mogha took to publish a bestseller book on Amazon, as well as co-found eWow, and what steps you can take to achieve your goals. Good morning and welcome, Ms. Mogha, to the podcast. Before we begin, as icebreakers, can you please share an interesting fact about yourself that people may not know about you?
That's interesting. You know what? I was the voiceover artist for Doordarshan when I was in college, and many people would have many people who were in India at that time would have heard my voice on the national television.
That's very interesting, actually. Okay, thank you. So, as an introduction for Miss Mogha, she is an influencer, a thought leader, a best-selling author, a speaker, a woman in tech evangelist, and a technology leader. She's also the founder of eWow. eWow is Empowered Women of the World, and it's a platform to empower women around the world to discover, visualize, and actualize their success. So today, Miss Mogha will be sharing her background in CS and how it has shaped her career today. So the first topic is how and when did you develop your interest in computer science?
So my move into computer science was not planned. I was studying to be a doctor, and then it so happened that I fell sick for months and could not clear my medical exam. And then what we did was I actually joined Delhi University to do my major in botany. But that wasn't of much interest to me, and I was depressed, and I didn't know. I thought my life had ended, and I didn't have a future in front of me because I couldn't be a doctor. And it so happened that at that time, one of the leading computer science institutes in India had put out a scholarship program, and my mom got me enrolled into that scholarship program. And she said, just go take this test. If you get the scholarship, we'll think about it then. And I was like, no, I'm not interested in computer science. This is not where I want to go. And my mom says, one step at a time. Let's take this scholarship exam. And I was like, okay, I'll go take the exam. I took the exam, I got the scholarship, and then I had to make a decision. So I said, okay, there's nothing to lose over here. Let me go try out a few classes and see what happens. And I tried it out and I liked it and I continued with it. So that's how I moved into computer science from medical science, which was going to be my career at that time, which I thought was going to be my career at that time.
So obviously, the college education did play a major role on your career today. So were there any like entrepreneurial efforts or any clubs or any programming languages or research that you felt really instigated your initial passion for computer science?
So for me, it was all about trying to make a difference, and that was important for me. I was already for those who have read my book Fast Track Your Leadership Career, I talk about it in that book. But for me, it was about breaking the norms very early on in my life. I came from a royal lineage. We were Rajputs, and while girls were highly educated, they went to colleges, they studied for a career. What they were going to do in their life after they got married was a decision that was made by someone whom they got married to as opposed to them, and that was not acceptable to me. So very early on, I was the black sheep in the family, if you will, trying to break the norms. And part of it was uh, computer science I saw as a way and means to kind of break those norms once again. Right, there was an opportunity to have a career, to build programs, to write programs that would break some of these stereotypes. Today, I talk a lot about bias in AI. I talk about bringing diversity of thought in the programs that we create, because we need to create programs, we need to create solutions that work for all. And for the longest part, it has just been men who have been in these roles. And that's why the solutions that come out do not work necessarily for women. and for differently abled people or other minorities that are there. And the reality is that we are not the minority. If you look at the world population, we are 51% of the world's population. So really, we are not the minority. So for me, um, that was important, and that's what I thought computer science would do. I actually, after my stint at NIIT, where I studied computer science, I was absorbed at NIIT to be a software developer, and I got an opportunity to write my first book at that time, as a part of a collaborative effort. And I realized that I could make so much of difference by educating others. And that's where the first change in my career happened, where I moved from a developer into the role of actually enabling people and empowering people. So I think there was not one incident that sparked it. It was a series of incidents and my life experiences that molded me into who I am today.
It's actually so refreshing to see somebody with such impact on our community. So, as you know, like most of Chico's students are also female around the world. So, how do you suggest they take initiative into taking computer science into their own hands? Because obviously, students here in Silicon Valley are very privileged to have all these resources around them, but students from Chico who are living, let's say, in Jamaica or India, don't have the same opportunities. So, what do you suggest they can do to maybe start their computer science journey or further it?
So first and foremost, I would say, don't be scared of it, right? That was the biggest piece. Don't think it's hard. Don't think that it's nerdy. uh, it's just like any other subject that you would study and any other subject that you would explore. I remember that when I was growing up, I had to actually request my parents to buy me a computer. It was to start developing. It was expensive at that time to buy a computer. We used to have desktops at that time. I'm dating myself by saying that, but but that was the reality. Today, you can just spin a quick instance on AWS or any other cloud computing platform, and you are ready to start developing. The other piece is that remember that whatever you are learning today, you're not going to be using it as a programming language for the rest of your life. So continuous learning is just so important. And there's so many resources that are available for free. So for example, edX has a lot of material around computer science that's available for free. LinkedIn Learning launches a lot of these programs available for free. So soak up that information. Remember that whatever um, career that you're going to choose later on in your life, you will need to have a bent of mind for technology. It's important. Like if you look at restaurant business, if you look at hotel business, if you look at HR, if you look at travel and tourism, anything that you look at, finance, it's no longer separated from technology. Finance is fintech now, education is edtech. That's because technology has become such an integral part. So you cannot succeed if you do not have that understanding of technology. So use the resources that are available. I would also like to offer our EVA podcast to the audience today, because EVA podcast is available for free, and we talk about technology. We talk about a lot of other things that help you gain confidence. So there is a series on cloud computing. There's a series on digital transformation, which people can leverage. And I'll
Also, so as you know, computer science, especially in Silicon Valley, is very geared towards software developing, as you mentioned. People don't seem to know that there are many different aspects that you can go into within the computer science field. Like for you, for example, you haven't necessarily taken the traditional route for computer science. So what would you say are a few norms or like some like stereotypes surrounding computer science which the students should know, like in terms of like what they can go into and what are the different opportunities for them?
So first and foremost, computer science is hard. It's not hard. It's just like any other subject. As long as you understand the logic, that's all that you need. Computer science is for nerds, not true. Computer science is for everybody. Technology touches every part of the community, society, workforce right now. Number three, you need to have a lot of resources and money to put in to start education around computer science. Not true. There's a bunch of, almost every large company that deals in software right now has bunch of assets that are made available on YouTube or their websites for free for everybody. um, I would not say, the third piece is the fourth piece is that you need to dive deep into computer science. You can be a business person and you still can have knowledge about computer science. So I would highly encourage everybody to give it a try. Just like, when you are in school, you have English and social studies and science, and you may or may not carve out your career in that, but those elements, those building blocks are life skills that help you grow in life. Same is with computer science. So treat it like that. uh, Sixth is that if you take computer science, you have to be a software engineer. Not true. You can be a program manager, you can be a product manager, you can be a training and enablement executive, you can be a business leader. There's so many other avenues that open up once you understand the basics of technology. So those are the few stereotypes, I would say, that are associated with computer science.
So I think along with the stereotypes, definitely there are some, like I would say, benefits of computer science. So what are some additional opportunities that were presented to you through computer science or through technology? I know one of them was publishing your book. So if there are any other opportunities that were presented to you.
Absolutely. I mean, my podcast was the way I started it. Um, I think I could have gone the traditional route and started working with engineers and creating a platform first. Podcast was such an easy way to connect the eval family, which is now in across 47 countries and more. um, the technology enabled it, right? My basic understanding of going and doing things and trying out different things, it just changes your perspective. It's not about, how many programs you build, but it's about how you think. And that's important. uh, it gave me an opportunity to think outside the box every time when I looked at problems. um, Speaking engagements that I do all over the world, the keynotes that I deliver, they are because I had a computer science and technology background, right? Um, there's so many other things that I do for the community, and those have happened because I had a technology background.
So I also noticed that you have a YouTube channel which you offer very good advice and tips. So I think I was watching your YouTube videos. I learned a lot from what you said, and I just had a so obviously you are. I mean, I've looked at your website as well. You've done a lot of different things. You have a lot of experience. So I want to talk a little bit about EWOW. So what is the purpose of EWOW, and what's the impact of EWOW?
Yeah, absolutely. So evow actually started because I had launched my book Fast Track Your Leadership Career, and within 11 hours of publishing the book was Amazon bestseller in its category. And then people started reaching out to me saying, how do we take this conversation forward? And for me, the traditional developer in me said, let's build out a platform, let's engineer a platform, and let's put all the content out there and build a community that can leverage that content. um, the out of the box thinker and innovator said to me, that would be a long process to do that. How do we start building the community today, tomorrow? And that's how eva was launched. So eva is actually an intellectual platform that helps people visualize, actualize, and discover, visualize, and actualize their success. It was important for us to provide everybody that intellectual success, so intellectual platform, so that they can be successful in whatever success means to them. Because the community that I come from, success is being married and having kids, but that was not my definition of success. So it was important for me to acknowledge the fact that everybody's definition of success can be different. Some people want to go deep dive into technology. Some people want to be business leaders. It cannot be my definition of success that I'm preparing other women for. It has to be what their definition of success is. And that's how Eva was formed. We started in 2018. We have a reach in over 47 countries, as I mentioned. We offer webinars, we offer podcast, we have Alexa skills that we distribute for free. Because of Eva and what we have enabled and empowered women in 47 countries to be able to do, we have been recognized as, you know, there was a woman influencer award that I got last year. There was also women in IT award. There was a game changer award. This year I was inducted into Alameda County Hall of Fame awards. Um, and it's all because of the impact that Eva has been able to make on the community.
So obviously, you're self-made. Your involvement to help women in technology is amazing. So, how do you recommend that women, like girls in their local communities, can get involved and show their leadership to help others as well?
One of the things that I feel I made a mistake in my life was that I waited too long to give back to the community. I thought that I needed to be at a certain level, have a certain title, have a different position to be able to give back to the community. The reality is that you can give back at any level. And that is what I would encourage everybody to do. So sign up for volunteering activities if you have knowledge, start up a podcast, start up a YouTube channel, and start sharing your knowledge. The goal should be that you want to impact the world with the knowledge that you have and what you bring to the table. Everybody's skill set is different, right? And every skill set is valuable. So people who question that I have nothing to share, that's wrong, because everybody's story matters. And that's, I think, the biggest mistake I feel I made in my career. And I would just advise you to, young people, to just go out. And we actually interviewed one of our Eva family members who is in Japan, and she's 20 years old, and she is just making an impact by teaching, by being part of a community that teaches kids in Africa through online medium how to speak English, right? And if you would think about it, somebody would think, my God, have no skills, I just know English. But even to be able to educate people on how to speak English and understand English so that they can leverage all the rich content that's out there is making an impact. So every small step in the right direction counts.
Yes, so you've given a lot of advice in today's podcast. So if there was one thing that cheat code students would take away from today's podcast, what would it be?
I would say take risks in your life, right? Experiment with new things that are coming up. Experiment with technology. It's so easy uh, to to try out new things nowadays, right? What is the most that is going to happen? You would not have the desired outcome, but that's a 50% chance. When you don't even try it, you have zero chance of succeeding. So that is important. Don't stick with the norms. If you have a bright idea, if you have an idea, try it out, prototype it, and see whether it would work or not. And prototyping doesn't mean that you have to invest thousands of dollars into it. Prototyping can be as simple as validating your idea by talking it with 20 people. But don't let that little voice in you pull you back and say, of self-doubt, pull you back and say you can't do it. And that's the biggest advice. Take risks, try out new things, and give it a try.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice, especially for girls out there who are restricted to certain norms in their society. I feel like that's such good advice and motivation that, sometimes they don't get that. And I think that's really important. If you guys would like to connect with Miss Mogha, you guys can connect with her through LinkedIn. And when you're connecting with her, please make sure to specify your reason, like why you are connecting with her and who you are from cheat code, so she's able to have some context. Is there any other way, Miss Mogha, that you would like, if students would like to ask you more questions or get in touch with you?
Absolutely. My YouTube channel is a great place. I am active, fairly active on my YouTube channel. I haven't been so active in last couple of months because of what was going on in the world and my personal priorities. And the podcast, it's a great way. You can even record your messages and send it to me on the podcast, on the Eva podcast. It's available on 12 channels. So any way or form that you want to connect with me, I'm always open to new connections. If you need any help, please count me as a resource. I would love to see more students coming into computer science, coming into technology, bringing in that diversity of thought, and actually creating solutions that work for everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with us. I'm sure that we've all learned a lot, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for listening to the third episode of the Cheat Code podcast. If you want to reach out to Rashim Mogha with more questions that were not covered in the podcast or more inquiries in general, her LinkedIn will be linked at the end. Please make sure to specify that you are a student from Cheat Code when you connect with her.